in terms of this differential that you're talking about, in terms of, I guess, having dealt with emotional trauma as a group, right? I mean, the generations of dehumanization and stuff to build something out of the ashes of that,
Hmm.
it does take something special, and that's that black magic, right? That black girl magic.
And it's funny because like even though I don't, I will still say like I don't see a coherent like global black identity. I don't. But at the same time, you're right. On the diaspora, especially on the diaspora, to watch these people all over the Americas who have been through what we've been through, and still, I'll say like still we rise. Our very survival is pride to our ancestors, right? Like they dealt with some stuff, and we're here. The baseline is we survive, and they're proud of that. But it's not okay for us to settle for surviving. We rise, we thrive, we push, and we demand better, right? And I think that is, to me, the closest you will get me to get into a point of like, like talking about like black pride is that of like how we have pushed through this and given a giant middle finger to white supremacy in that we continue to rise. And we will continue, right? Like our kids will be better off than we were, and we insist on it. They will live in a more equal, a more free world than we were. And I see that with my uncles and my aunts, the world they grew up in, and they tell me their stories. And I'm like, and mine is better. My experience is better. And you know what? I demand better for my children. I'm not asking for it. My children will surpass me and they will do more than me. And we will demand it, not just for our ancestors, but for ourselves. And that to me, it is a point of like really deep pride at the same time. And so I love that. I love that about us. But at the same time, I'd be happy for that to be a shared story because it could be a shared America, shared Canada, shared the Caribbean, or shared UK, I'll call it out too, right? Where, hey, as a country, we did this to these people and now they're doing well. To me, that's why not be proud? I've always found, I mentioned it before, it shouldn't be that, it's incumbent on Black people to feel pride for how far things have come, or to feel anger that, even in the past, people are dehumanized, like looking back. It should be on all of us. It isn't just a Black story. It is the story of the new world, the story of the Western world is we did some stuff, but we are doing better and we're helping to make it right. And that to me is, if anything, that is the universal part of this story, right? Is how we should all own this. It is not just on a Black family to make sure that Black kid thrives and survives. It is on everybody because that is our kid, right? And I guess that's the world I want, right? And honestly, I will be honest, it's getting there. I do see steps. It's not we're 50 years after the main civil rights movement or the bigger one, right? In the West, right? Like segregation was happening 50 years ago. We've actually made a lot of progress, not enough, but we've made a lot. And I think in the next 100 years, at the pace we're going, provided we still have a world with climate change and all that, I think things will be much better. And I'm sorry, I'm ranting. I mentioned it
No, it's okay.
recently. I'm looking forward to the day when my descendants will look back at the life I lived and thought he didn't do enough, or he wasn't moral enough, or he didn't work hard enough. That to me isn't shameful. It is a point of pride. I want that world where they look back on our world, on our actions, and say, we should have done more. And I'm proud of the world I'm in now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have to think about that a little bit. Um, for me, it's a little bit difficult to think about the future right now, and what kind of world we're about to leave. Partially because I love how you threw in there, like, if there's still a world. And, I definitely think that that's going to come into play in a significant way in the future. So, there's, frankly, I think that there's so many superseding causes at this point to any kind of individual actions that we might take or any prognostications that we might have about the future, that I try not to spend too much time thinking about it at this point because, frankly, one of these shoes is going to drop, and it just like matters which one in what order, like to like what consequence and how much of an emergency is created. You can already see it happening with COVID, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. So
That's always been the world.
that's true,
Because
but like it is a little bit different right now because um, mostly because of technology and the power of technology right now. I'm not sure that there's ever been really a situation where there were so many different parallel power structures that could rival a government or at
but I'm
least
okay
like
with that.
influence a government.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'm not saying it's necessarily like a bad thing or like a wrong thing, but things are not really going to probably happen in the way that they have in the past in some significant regard. That's all I can really say. I don't exactly know how that's going to pan out.
But